this dojo. All right, so we're making improvements. So this is part of the plan. One of the things in my plan is you have to annotate and analyze. In my level, the 1500 and 1600 band, you have to analyze and annotate 55. That's right, 55 of your own personal games. Classical time control. Now, most people probably won't even get 50 games in a year. That's one per week, right? Roughly. But I'm going to make an honest effort. I want to get between 50 and 75 games in this year. Rated games, classical time controls. I have a short-term goal of reaching Class B, which is 1600 USCF. So I am working on it. I'm currently 1492. I know you probably can't see this, but this game is against Mr. Gleason. At our club, he's 1409. So, the time controls, yes, they are not 90 plus 30. They're a little bit different in my club. So I don't do 90-30. We do game in 100. So it's an hour and 40 minutes with a delay of 5 seconds per move. So every move, when you hit your clock, it doesn't start ticking for 5 seconds. So instead of increment, we have delay. A little bit different, but very similar time controls. It probably works out to about the same amount of time anyways. The only thing is you can't load your clock up with the plus 30s if you make like 5 or 6 moves in a row right away and then gain 4 or 5 minutes. You don't have that option. So I don't know if they ever had increment or if it's always been, I think it's always been delay, but different time. So we're playing old school time controls. I'm not sure exactly when they came about, but similar, very similar. So, all right, I started with an English, and my opponent decided to play a Caro Kann type of structure with C6. I haven't seen, I should probably put some notes here. I've not seen C6 many times, OTB or online, so, but I am familiar with some of the lines in the English. Okay, so I think you guys can see everything that I'm working on, right? Absolutely, I would love anybody's input. Maybe it'll go into the annotations, maybe it won't. This is my first pass, so I might be a little less likely to put any of your notes into the notes, but we might explore it, we might take a look at it. Usually I don't take input until after I've done my first pass through it, and I give it a good 2 or 3 hours, but we'll see how it goes. I might, yeah, if I like what I see, maybe we'll take a look at it, right? I think that's kind of the good idea, right? It is my own annotation, but offering in here an input, not necessarily a bad thing. We're just going to kind of maybe combine it a little bit instead of me waiting. I like to do my own analysis first, but I'm open. I'm open to the idea. I think it might be good for kind of everybody to participate. I think that's a good idea. It gives us all ideas, and if we need to take a look at it, we take a look at it. Not a bad idea. I believe, now you guys will have to tell me or not, I added currency, so you should get cafe coins, chess cafe coins, I believe. Can anybody tell me if that is actually working? I don't see it because I'm the streamer, but and I don't have a secondary account to test, but I'm wondering if you guys see that, because if you are, can't see anything like that. Okay, then there's probably something that I still have to do and fix with that, but that's something that will be coming, because what I'd like to do is I'd eventually like to give people rewards for watching my stream and participating and hanging out, and then I would like to hopefully give people reviews as a reward, so we can review your game together and stuff like that. So it's something that we're working on. I have it enabled on my bot, but maybe it's not completely configured the right way. That's my guess. But in early D5 and G6, yeah, that's exactly what's kind of coming. So the idea on this particular deal is we have to watch out for the early D5, right? And thanks for the follows, the two of you. I appreciate it. DL Borger and Psy Stuff, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm hoping to get to 100 followers sooner rather than later, but that is a goal for the year, so I'm not in any hurry to get there. But yeah, the idea is to fight over the D5 square. A lot of people want to fight for the center, so that's a good idea. Other options here, most people play either knight to F6 or E5 straight away. So those are usually what I see. Move order here, I'm not really too concerned with. So my normal general move is E4, mainly because we want to stop this. And if it does happen, we can have a series of trades. I still have a center pawn, though it's isolated, something we have to deal with when people play this line against us, but I'm comfortable with that, and something to see. E4. I definitely need a new keyboard. I don't like the way of this one. It's a SteelSeries keyboard that is European, so all the keys are different. Well, a lot of the keys are different. My Windows button doesn't work because it won't map, because I used to play a Korean MMO. This keyboard just doesn't work for what I need it to. Now that I'm all in chess, I need a US keyboard. This just isn't working for me. Although this is programmable and it has lots of cool features, I don't think I really need it anymore. All right, so all right, gaining control of the center. All right, putting the question to the pawn, pretty normal. I did consider this as a move. And I thought about it gets weird. I'm not exactly sure how to deal with this particular move if I were to push the pawn. As I think the idea might be to potentially kick the knight, but if you push past, I believe this is better for black. He's gained his control of the center. He's got a knight on an outpost. It can be refuted, but it's just a line. It's a line I saw during the game, and I really did not want to push this because I thought that this was totally better for black. Oh, I wrote white though. I just didn't want a piece being that far in, and I don't really like it that much, so I didn't go for it. Instead, I opted for protecting the pawn, which is pretty standard in most of my opening lines. This is preparing for mass exchanges on D5. This is pretty typical. This is a normal opening line in the English, and he plays exactly that. This is pretty standard. I didn't really consider any other moves here because this is pretty much the way it's supposed to go. Now that I'm looking at it on a second take, I'm not sure that there is any other options here. I think I guess we do have the option of pushing here, but then he comes back, and I don't really like that, and he still has the ability to come back here too, so I don't like any of that. I guess we can put that in. Knight F D7 or knight E4. I just don't think that they're really good. I think this is slightly better for black. So idea is to exchange, and then attack the knight. Let's see. Do you still see my analysis? You do. Actually, I'm on move 6. I need to move some of this down so you can see it. There we go. Okay, perfect. Typical opening idea. Kicks the knight back. Trading here, I didn't really consider, though I don't think it's good, mainly because now I have this pawn center. This is most certainly better for white. IQP is isolated queen pawn, for those of you that might not know. But usually this is pretty much the book move, most played. Actually, let's confirm that. If I look at the opening book, yeah, knight to b6 is the most played. That's what I thought. Okay, so reason being is it attacks the bishop. And then the next move is pretty much forced. I haven't considered any other moves here. This is pretty much all in opening lines, and I believe, I guess bishop to b5 is there, but I never really ever considered that because it just helps him develop a piece. So it's better, I believe it's just better to go the way I went. Plus you control the knight a little bit better. and you keep an eye on f7. Okay, let's turn off that. Okay, you guys can still see move 7. Okay, let's scroll up a little bit more. E6. This is a pretty good move, kind of hindering my bishop. Also, it's a good move. It gives him a chance to bring his dark squared bishop out. Always good thing to see. Okay. Next moves are pretty much normal developing moves. This allows for kingside castling, and it controls more of the center, which is pretty good. And it also supports my D pawn push. No other normal developing move. Finally getting castled. Not quite finishing development. This is still a book move. I thought that this was possibly the first deviation, but I was wrong. The first deviation is actually, I make the first deviation with bishop f4. And I noticed this right away. So this is the first deviation from my repertoire. But you probably guys can't see that, but there's 5 games played in the Masters database still, and they're all, look at that. Can you guys see that? Oh, you guys can't quite see it, can you? Bugger. Either way, in my analysis you can't really see it, but actually, yeah, let's do this. You can see up above here that there's 5 games in the Masters database still in this particular line, and they're all favorable for white. So I was pretty happy that I found this move. The move that was in my particular analysis, though, or in my book, is bishop c2. With the idea of queen to b3, followed with a mate threat on the h7 square, and it just looks really good for white. Coincidentally enough, this particular line is not in the Masters database, but it is in the normal Lichess database. And bishop e2, bishop c2 has been played almost 600 times. It's only 45% scoring for white, but I found it to be very interesting. It's in my repertoire. You might like a3 first. Yeah, stopping. Yeah, exactly. Stopping the knights from coming in here. Not a bad idea. I do like that, and I do end up playing a3. Actually rather soon. Reason being is obviously I want to keep everything out of here. Yeah, bishop f4 is a logical move, right? Did I put enough here? First move from deviation for my repertoire. White is better here. Great attacking chances. Focus on queen to b3 with mate threats. Okay. Okay, you guys can still see that. I'm gonna have to modify that particular deal. Yeah, see, if I do it that way, it doesn't really work. I'm gonna have to figure out how to deal with this. Not exactly sure. Because this is kind of tedious and cumbersome. There's got to be a way to deal with that. Adjusting this window all the time. I'll have to figure that out. So, all right, so you guys can see some of my stuff here. All right. All right, there we go. Okay. Any other moves here that we can kind of consider now that I'm looking at this? They just castled. Bishop f4 seems pretty normal. What about this? I did look at this, but I don't think I looked at it at this point in the game. Oh, queen b3. Oh, sorry. Knight b4 stops bishop c2, queen d3, then g6, followed by bishop h6. Yes. Yeah, that all makes sense. Yeah, if you do that now, you do have to worry about that right away. So maybe you preemptively, like you said, start with a3. And perhaps this just is not necessarily amazing of a line. I haven't gone super deep into these particular lines yet, so this is kind of, even though I'm kind of familiar with them from a study standpoint, I haven't played them over the board. So this is new territory for me as a whole, which is okay. I'm happy about it. So I did, when I played bishop, I didn't think of e4 until after I played bishop f4. But is it possible to do it now with the idea of pushing, because I have the queen, because then I can push and then push, and it's kind of nasty, and it's coming really fast. Worst case scenario, it gets traded off and I no longer have an isolated pawn. Okay, that's fine. Does it work here though? We've got 1, 2, and 3. He's only got 1 and 2 and 3. So we can do that, but then that kind of provokes mass exchanges. We've got those 3 on it, and I've got, come on now. I got these 3 on it. That's a lot of, it's a crazy amount of stuff to calculate. And doing that over the board on a time control with pressure against a person I've never played, it gets a little scary. So this is obviously the linchpin of the whole position. Well, let's start taking a look at it. So we have takes, and we have takes, and we also have takes. Those both work. We also have takes, which then also has takes and takes. So there's some lines here. I think those are the main 3. If we take here. Okay. All right, so we've got all of that. Let's start with this. So takes, takes, takes. It's coming after this. And We've given up the bishop pair just to play bishop. Bishop c8. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Waiting, of course. And I did wait. I didn't play it here, but I'm just wondering whether or not it will actually work now. We can come after this. So if we go here, it kind of simplifies down to an endgame with that move order. What would we do here? I guess I would still normally develop. Not exactly sure. Let's try another line. Let's try this way first. Now what? Bishop g5 might be better than queen takes d8. You're talking about in this particular line? After, yeah, I thought about this, then f4, but it kind of just kicks that around. It's weird, right? I'm not sure whether or not this works or not, any of this. I feel like it moves towards like drawish territory if I allow all of this. I'm not sure if there's something here or not. Yeah, I'm not sure how much of this I really like. I'm not seeing anything that looks awesome. I have to evaluate these lines too. Like none of these look good. I don't know what's objectively best either. Trading for the sake of trading is not. Yeah, it is. I mean, you're 3 or 4 moves, 4 or 5 moves deep. But a lot of these things could happen if I were to push this. And that all stems from this move alone, right? Yeah, I feel like maybe it's a little bit better because the position's so open, but I feel if I end up trading off this bishop, I have to get one of these other bishops. Otherwise, I feel like it's moving in the wrong territory for white. Yeah, it does. You are right. I'm going to have to come back to it, analyze those. I like my move that I played better. There's a lot of lines here. I'm going to have to evaluate them, and I'm not exactly sure where they all lead. They all seem kind of almost drawish to me, a lot of these lines. I'll have to put some notes in those ones, but let's see. Whoops. Let's take a look at this line. What's the evaluation on this position? I feel like it's pretty equal. They have a isolated. Maybe it's slightly better for white. It's pretty close to equal though. So, all right, I'm going to copy that because I feel like this is not going to be the only line that we mark this with. I feel this is very similar. Might be slightly better for white because I have a tempo, but actually I do have a threat here if they don't do anything. It's a minor one, easily to defend, but all right, so we check that move. We did not check knight d5. I feel like these would be similar lines. It's complicated. I feel they're kind of equal positions. You're not really fighting for anything. You're just, it's really kind of, you're simplifying down just for the sake of doing so. All right, so we played this move. I was pretty much expecting this move. He wants to, idea is to solidify my isolated pawn. As long as he keeps that thing blockaded, it's good for him. Yeah, in isolated queen pawn positions, you want to try to hang on to as many pieces as you can to support it. If you are against it, you want to simplify down and get rid of all the pieces so you can easily attack it because it can't be protected by any pawns. Basic endgame strategy, which is really good. Actually, I forgot to mention here that yeah, white. I did. Yeah, white's definitely better here. I don't know what the evaluation is, but I'm pretty sure that this is a little bit better for white right now. Oh, this is kind of neat. So on my dashboard, my new dashboard, it shows how many people are here and it shows the users, but there's a spot that says known bots and then it shows who the bots are. That's kind of cool. I kind of like that. Nordovic, what's going on? Well, welcome, welcome. You've been found out. You are not one of the known bots in that list, sir. You're all good, man. You're all good. It's some other people. I am a robot. I'm a robot. A premium robot. Yeah, so the idea is try to stop the isolated queen pawn. If black can get a hold of stopping this thing, then he's got really good chances to get that off the board and maybe have an advantage. But that's tough to do in this position. This is black bishop can't really easily get to a square where it can attack it. Not right now anyways, and I've got it really, really defended. So I thought it was best to keep my bishop, so I just came back. And it prevents him from kind of coming in here too. Oh, you still have to analyze your game from the week? Yeah, this is my first pass, but I don't know what you guys can see. Did I extend the board? You can't see it, but the game ends shortly after what I have listed in the window right there. So there's certainly not a lot of game left. So there's only 2 moves left after this. So we'll definitely get to that. I feel like we're going to get a lot. Barely defeated a one. You barely defeated a 103? What? No. Really? Like a 103 as like 103. Not like somebody that is 103 points less or more than you. Is that what you mean? 103 USCF. I know that like 100, that's like the lowest you can get, isn't it? So, wow, I mean, you pretty much have to like lose like every game ever and just keep losing points to everybody. I mean, I suppose it's possible. There is a low point, but I feel like as long as you know the basics, you're probably about at least 400. You were terrified. I tell myself they're underrated too, though I keep doing stupid stuff. I tell myself the opposite. I tell myself that everybody is a master and I need to work super hard to beat them. And then it like brings out my A game. That's how I go. A 13-10. Okay, that's much different. That's much different than a 103. I was like, how did they get that low? The guys in my club that lose. There's a guy in my club that loses. He loses a lot. He wins. I don't know that he wins all that much, but he plays just for fun. It doesn't really matter. But he's still like 400 or 500 something. So yeah, that's a big difference though. That one digit. 103 versus a 1310. I put my money on the 1310, right? All right, back to the analysis. Yeah, I played bishop g3. I wanted to keep the bishop pair. Do we have any other moves here? I feel like that's the best move. We can protect it. But then he takes it off. He peels it off. So I never even considered this, but let's take a look. And here I feel like this is just a way to get kicked around. I think that can be meant by this. And now I'm not really exactly sure what to do with my queen. It's just kind of out there. I have to go back. I feel like this is better, slightly better for black. G4 is not a place I want to be just because of this in that discovery. So we don't want to do that. That gets into scary territory. You don't want to put your queen into pins unless you really have a good reason for it. And here, there's not really a mating attack at all. I know this looks like it could potentially be one, but it requires a few moves, and these are moves I just don't have at my disposal. That's a lot of stuff to do. So yeah, I don't like this at all. So dropping back I think is best. Keeps the bishop, gives me the potential to, if they ever move this bishop, to attack the queen. I like this. It's a little bit more flexible of a move. No, queen to d2 is totally not in the spirit of the position. You're definitely right. Okay, a6, I can see that he wants to expand on the queen side. He kind of has to do something because he still has to develop. And I believe his idea is this and this. That's what I was thinking in the game. That's pretty much exactly what happened. But yeah, so there's a few things that happen. I have an idea that he's going to play these moves. So, but I feel as though I have to stop him coming in. This is a critical square in my position, I believe. Though I can bring rook c1 right now, I think it's premature because this square can come here with any number of pieces, and I just don't want any of that. So I played a3 controlling this square because I didn't want him coming in. This was to stop any of his types of any plans he had of coming in here. So this is now off limits. But we talked about rook c1 first. Can we do this first? Potentially. Maybe you're right, because maybe this is okay. Because if he decides he wants to continue this way, which he's a pretty decent player, I doubt he would have played this. Because he saw my threat. The idea of coming here, he has to take and then winning a piece. This is clearly better this is winning for white. So yeah, I mean this is good, but he's not going to make that b4 move here. Reason being is he didn't make it here. So I set this up on the second move, and he took care of it. Takes care of knight takes d5, winning a piece. Winning the c6 knight. So that's solved now. But did we have anything better than that? I feel like this was pretty good, because if he decided not to develop that bishop for whatever reason and played some stupid move, that's totally winning. Like coming after my bishop. E takes d5, and rook takes c6. Exclam, exclam. So he was too smart for that. Is there any other moves here? I feel like this is probably the best move in the position, because it does set up that tactic, and if he really did do anything different and didn't protect that knight for some reason, this was totally winning for white. So, all right. Can you guys still see? Yeah, you can see my... Okay. All right. Knight takes d5 is possible instead of knight e4. All right, let's take a look at it. Knight takes d5. That is an option. He has to take this way. But what's the follow-up? Connects the rooks and stares down h7. Plays versus the bishop. I did consider this as an option. I most certainly did. And this was one of the lines I came up with, because now his bishop is ill-placed and hitting granite, and mine is attacking his weak pawn. I believe this is better for white. I don't know if it's totally better or if it's slightly better. We're going to say it's slightly better. I think it's all right. I came up with a different idea, but I like this position too. I think it works. Yeah, I'm not sure which one's better, eval wise. I feel like the way I played it is better, judging by looking at this now. I only visualized it over the board. I didn't actually play it out this way, so seeing it on the board the way it is now, it's two isolated pawns against each other. We have similar pawn islands across the board. My pieces are a little bit more active than his, but I feel like allowing that was a little bit... I feel like it's okay for him. You know? Yeah. Yeah, exactly. We run into maybe some knight a5 stuff, and we're hitting the bishop. I'm going to have to move it, and then he gets the c4 square. Yeah. Oh, I don't want to do that. Um, yeah, I mean, concessions, it's different, you know? And I saw these things, I just didn't like them. My idea in this game was to take away all of Black's counterplay. So, though I am playing against his bishops because they are in really passive areas, I came up with this idea. With the idea of coming into here so he can take his bishop, and then I have this forward pass, then I have creating a pass pawn. And I felt like it worked in my advantage. So my idea was exactly what happened in the game. He takes it off and I get this pass pawn with the idea of having it protected very quickly. And bringing my bishop in. And now I've got a protected pass pawn. This is I think white is most certainly I don't know if white's winning yet. White white is on the verge of winning. I think I'm going to actually say that I'm winning at this point. It might be slightly better, but I'm playing against his knights, and this bishop is stuck. It can't really move. Bishop a2 to b1. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have those options too. This is just straight up faster. You'll see why I decided to play it this way in a little bit. I'm not going to relinquish any control of that pawn, as you'll see, because the idea that he has is coming here and coming after my bishop. So he can't do that yet because his rook's on, you know, he'll drop the exchange. But the idea being, once he moves, he has no way to come after this. He has to drop significant material if he wants to alleviate. I mean, this is a monster right here. So really the idea of this is, in the event that he comes here, and because of what positions I've botched. Fair enough. Right. Yeah, I understand that. And I'm actually pretty conservative with most of my evaluations. I feel most times. But I feel this protected pass pawn is just ridiculously difficult to contend with. And I feel like this is winning. He has to do something to alleviate this, and it's going to be having to deal with a significant amount of material or drop some sort of exchange. It might only be slightly better, but I feel if I was to give this an actual evaluation, At this point, I'm going to guess my evaluation would be that this is probably +2, if not more, for white. Even though material-wise it's equal, that passed pawn is a monster. Like this is nasty. He's jammed up. There's nothing that this is. I don't see any options for him. I mean, the last tournament I drew a +8 position. It's a little bit different in drawing conditions. It's easy to get stalemates when you have way more pieces than your opponent. And I'm not saying that I couldn't botch this either. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying evaluation-wise, this is actually winning for white. With perfect play from each side, white is winning. Don't get me wrong. I have all the tendencies to be able to botch this too. But I've been playing pretty solid chess lately, so I don't know what the evaluation is. I'm guessing. I haven't turned on the engine. I have no idea. All right, so he has to alleviate the rook. Forced, otherwise. He's just trying to free up the position. The reason I did this move is so that I have the option to peel this knight off. Fully knowing that I would open this rook up and give him a little bit of play, but I have the same stuff, so I'm not really too worried. Let's not say only because we haven't looked at it. So here I had my longest think of the game. So, looking at this position, I felt my intuition was telling me that there's something more than just taking the knight. So I felt that this was the critical moment. So I was willing to give it time. And I spent 20 minutes on this, no joke. I actually wrote it down, the time. So on move 19, move 20, yeah, I spent 19 minutes, so almost 20 minutes, to the first thing that I saw, which I calculated before he had made this move, and before I made this move. Actually, even so, this sequence here, when I played this move with this idea, I saw this all the way to here. I saw this the whole way. So this is, I know this seems like a lot, but before I had played knight e5 or knight to e4, I calculated this whole sequence that ended up playing out the way that I expected. I should probably mark that. What was it? Move 19. Move 20. Actually, so let's go back. And I evaluated that this was better. Taking the knight was better for me. So I calculated all of this and expected him to do this. And about, I think here before I made this move, I calculated the rest of it again, just to make sure I was okay, evaluation-wise, was okay to do this, period. And I was like, okay, at the best, this is, I feel like this position here for me is pretty much winning, because now he got rid of his dark squared bishop and all of this. There's nothing that he has very difficult time alleviating all of this. So let's mark this. I believe that this is winning for white. Obviously, you still have to convert it, but I feel like this has the best chances. So I was okay with this position, and I saw this from move 14, from the 15th move. So I saw it from here, or before I made my 15th move. So, but when I got to here, I knew. And I calculated this again for about 2 minutes that takes, and I was like, okay, this still seems good for me. I can come here and take the pawn, or not take the pawn, but gain gain a file, and then bring my knight in and bring my queen over. I felt like this was huge, and I've got huge, really great attacking chances. This pawn's going to be extremely weak from my queen and the knight. And it's just, I feel it's really good for black, or for white, after taking the knight. So with all that, my intuition was kind of yelling at me here to take a pause and take a look at the position deeper. So I sat for 20 minutes almost trying to make this move work, because I really felt that this has some potential, like for a checkmate. I couldn't make it work, because I think the best move is here. And I calculated this and this and this. Okay, and now he's in check. He's got to come back. I calculated this with the idea of coming here. What's the time control? The time control is, sorry, it's game in 100 with delay 5. So 1 hour and 40 minutes with 5-second delay. Sorry. I'm not very good with acronyms, so TC, I didn't understand what you meant. I was trying to get this to work, and I just couldn't. I'm not sure exactly what he would do here. I don't see any really like decent moves for him. I thought that this would be what he would do, and then here. So I can still come get this, but he always has this. So I'm down. I'd be down a piece, and he has to come here, and I just don't see the killing blow at all. I don't see anything. And I couldn't make it work. And I thought of all these different variations. I thought about this. He's got to come back. And worst case, I've got to draw. But I feel like I have such huge attacking chances because I can always go back and forth and just get a perpetual. So I had at least a draw. So I'd calculated that, but I couldn't find the death blow, you know, and maybe there isn't one. I'm just not sure, and I don't see it. I felt like I had to get my pieces in order first. I needed more firepower. It just doesn't work. I don't see anything here. Maybe there's something here, but I couldn't find it. I'm not sure. If you guys see something, please point it out, because I'm really not sure. But I was really trying to make that work. But I just don't see it. Kawaiian Pizance, welcome. How are you? What about knight g4? Right here? Well, there is, but you have to get him almost blocked in the corner, but I don't see a way to block him in the corner, right? Yeah, I believe so. Well, actually, it's a viewer. It's not a bot. I want to do promotion of your channel, viewers, followers, chats, bots. The price is low than any competitor. I appreciate your offer, but my answer is no. But thank you. Time out. Yeah. There we go. That was easy enough. No, after queen to g6. So queen to g6 check. Knight to g4. With this idea. Or knight to h6. Does it work? Does it work? Can we find something here, fellas? All right. So we get boom. I feel like that's probably the best move in the position, potentially. Does this work? Check. That's bad. So he can't really do that. So that's not a move. Let's move that. Delete from there. What's his best move in this position? Going here would be checkmate. So he has to leave an escape square, right? Queen takes e8. Yeah, exactly. So I don't think there is. Rook to f8. Maybe it's not mate, but you win the queen. Fair enough. But that's, I mean, that might as well be mate. Yeah, I guess. That's hanging. That's hanging. Almost has to trade, right? What other things does he have? King f8. You can't go to king f8. You're talking about here? Yeah, okay. There we go. So, is this the defense? Actually, let's delete that variation. Let's delete this variation. All right. King f8. Is that what we're thinking the best move is here? The idea isn't why. I mean, that's not what we're talking about here. The idea is to see if there is anything here or if I actually made the right decision not doing it. Because if there is something here, then maybe I should have thought longer. But that's the exercise isn't to guarantee there's mate or not. The idea is to see if there is anything worth looking at. That's it. Yeah, but we don't know that for sure. I mean, if you're explicitly saying that right now, then I mean, I think that kind of loses the point of what we're doing for analysis. And maybe you're right. Maybe you see it and I don't. That's fine. So, though I do agree, I don't think there is a way to do it, but that doesn't mean there isn't. So he's in check, but don't think that worked. So if he comes here, we come here, he comes here. Can't do that because he'll lose the rook. That's winning for white. Perhaps, yeah, maybe. So that I mean, that kind of works. Might want to try that first, but then we lose the knight, so that's no good. Doesn't work either. Yeah, that's the whole idea of analysis. That's why we're looking at this in analysis, because it's all about ideas. It's not necessarily seeing it, like finding that it works or doesn't work. It's the idea of looking for it that is what is helpful. But I mean, I spent 20 minutes on this, and an old me probably would have went for it anyways, but I decided not to and felt that I couldn't make it work out, so I made the move that I felt was best. So the idea being, if you find a good move that you know works, see if you can find something better. That was what we were doing in this particular thing. Maybe it doesn't work. And what we've looked at so far, I don't believe it probably does. So I'm just telling you what I was thinking about when I was playing the game. And these were thoughts that went through my head, and I looked at a lot of these variations, but couldn't make it work. So ultimately, actually, if we go back to those, if we're at the end of this line here, check, This is better for black. Black is winning. So I felt this was equal. He wouldn't do that. He'd play this. And this is better. This is winning for black. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello. You were the last guy timed out, maybe. Hello. Hiya. Hello, hello. Where am I from? I am from the United States. So I came in here, and he played here, which is a blunder. Winning the knight on d5. White is winning. And my opponent resigned here. Where's that game from? It is from here in Wisconsin at my local chess club. What was a better move for black here? I don't know. I calculated this, and I was going to have to come back. I wasn't exactly sure where to go with my knight. I thought about just coming back. I was trying to force this as a weakness, but I also had ideas of pushing this, which just, I'm not sure if this is good or bad. I couldn't really make much of it out before I made that move. We talked about this in post. He talked about this. I didn't really see exactly where to go from here in post, and I haven't really given a whole lot of effort, but he has to deal with that pawn somehow. I think the easiest way is just to do that. But I'm not really sure I have a way to hang on to it. So feel like this wasn't necessarily good for me. So I don't really see where to go with my knight. Yeah, I thought about rook takes c1 is winning for black. Winning the knight. And you're covering the queening square, sure. That might not be the queening square though, this could be. After knight g4, you have no pieces. You shouldn't have anything. Oh, when we were looking at the possible mating stuff? Yeah, potentially. Yeah. Does he have any other tries? I mean, I feel like that's the best try. And maybe c6 doesn't work. Well, let's play it out here. I feel like this is probably winning. He wouldn't play rook to b8, so let's delete that. Yeah, I feel like this is winning for black. This wouldn't work. Bishop a8. I think I'm past where you were. You instead of taking my bishop, queen and knight are a tricky combo, though I wouldn't say queen and knight is no pieces. Yeah. Oh, bishop a8 here. Yeah, that's no good. That's bad. Yeah, d5 is out there hanging. You're right. This is clearly winning for white. Is there anything else after this move? I felt like the queen takes bishop is the best try. What about that? Is that anything? No, I feel, and then that's just nasty time. That's no good. No. Let's delete that. That's nothing. But he's got to move his queen. Little intermezzo action. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff here. I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe there is a defense here. I'm not sure. It's rough. It's difficult for black for sure. He's got to move or take my knight. Takes my knight. Take his bishop. He can't. Now these tricks are gone. He's up a knight, but we're attacking this guy. He's got to do something about it. So he either has to... He's got to move his rook. If he comes here... I feel like this is still... I think he can do this and it's still waiting for black. I don't see any way to pick up the knight. It might have been a better try. I don't see a way. I feel like that's... Black is better if we push c6. So let's do that. This is a mistake. And black is better. Nope, sorry. That's not what I wanted. Here. No, that's not what we want. That's not the mistake. F6. Here is the mistake. Mistake. Black is better. So, what do we do here then? Just come back and play the position? I mean, he still has to contend with this. Maybe we come here and then here. I feel like that's the best way to go with this idea and this idea. It's getting really bad for black. I think this is still winning for white. Does he have any other tries? I also saw him trying to do this particular move. And I didn't calculate long enough to really see whether or not it does anything. I think c6 kind of leads to similar lines after f6 c6. I still think this is better for. I still think that white's winning. I don't know. I don't really see a whole lot of defenses here. Charlie Silva, thanks for the follow. B8 immediately. Right now? Okay. Do we push anyways and then take the knight? Or do we come here and attack? A double attack. I calculated this over the board. I saw these things. With the idea of here, here. But it kind of is stopped by this. I think the easiest try is this here, then followed by this. Maybe. I don't think that works though, because there's always this. If you take that off, it just doesn't work. Yeah. C6 just does not work. Delete. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff here. I don't know, are you guys able to even see? You are. Okay, there is some of my stuff. I felt like this was a mistake. Oh, wow. What a game. A lot of stuff to deal with. A lot of interesting parts. Yeah, I don't think there are. I think those are good moves. I still think the advantage is to black or to white. This is still they still have to take care of this problem. Bishop A8 and Queen F6. I think those are the best tries. For sure. Let's mark that Queen F6 or Bishop A8. No, yeah, I mean that's your evaluation. That's fine. I think this is winning right now. Evaluation wise, I mean it still has to be played out, but it can go any number of ways after those two moves for sure. But I think the advantage is highly in White's favor at this point. Even after Queen. That knight's not going anywhere anytime soon. I mean, I don't see how black can really progress here. You have a lot of unwinding to do, and all of these pieces are just right now it has to take care of that. But like, yeah, I'm gonna have to. I disagree with you. I think White is completely in control and winning this right now. Don't get me wrong, anybody could lose this game for sure. I could totally blunder this game as well, sure. It's tough to progress for black. Yeah, easier to win. I think so. I really do. I mean, White has all the initiative, and Black has a lot of unwinding to do from here. I don't know when you came in for a little while ago, Charlie. I don't know how far we were into the game, but let's go back and you can kind of see how it progressed, because you're right around my level. And I feel like you can kind of get some ideas about how this was played and maybe offer some of your input as well. So this is pretty standard opening lines in the English. Controlling the knight, keeping an eye on the weak f7 square. Kind of went over this. I'll kind of buzz through it a little bit. Up to here, it's all book. I tried to see if we could figure out if d5 works, but I think d5 is all better for black. Or it leads to more drawish types of positions, it would appear. So I didn't really find a lot there. But kind of here's how the game went. I don't know if you can see the tactics here. If he does some random move, let's say does this, it's obviously winning for black. Had to, it's pretty much forced. Got a knight on a good outpost, hoping he would take, and now I have a protected pass pawn. Calculated a lot of this over the board too, by the way. tried to make something like this work, but it doesn't look like there's anything here. I think that was really the best line, and it's winning for black. Best case, there's perpetual check, draw, but took the knight instead, and he made a blunder here, and we win a piece, and he resigned. So I won that game, but we were trying to see if there was a way for black to get out of it, but I think the two moves we kind of came up with were queen to f6. F6 is also another try. I think that has a potential to work. Say's, or Sai, I don't know how to pronounce your name properly, but his idea of bishop to a8 here as well. So I think any one of those moves is probably saving the game or prolonging it much further than it had for black. But I still think, I don't know exactly what any of the options are here for black at all. To me, this is all, everything is winning for white. I think the evaluation here is at least 2.5 or better. I mean, black is just, maybe that's the idea. Let's look at it from black's point of view. So white just plays knight to e5 in your face, and you have this looming. Oh my gosh, this just looks, this looks scary. This just looks devastating. I don't know what the evaluation is here, but I feel it's like, it's +3. I could be wrong, but I'm making an honest guess here. Not easy to play for black. I mean, what does black do? You have to unwind your pieces somehow, right? But how do you do that? I don't really see. White's just controlling so many squares. I have a lot of Twitter notifications. And they'd have to find a way to sack an exchange, and then at that point, white is most certainly winning. But yeah, I agree. So is this a try? But what then? I'm just coming back. Trying to sack an exchange for activity. I mean, the bishop's coming back. Yeah, I still think white's winning here. I don't know. Maybe there's not. Maybe it had to be taken care of before then. I felt like perhaps he shouldn't have taken this. This might have been the blunder. Yeah, I feel like maybe this was the big mistake or the blunder of the game, allowing that. I feel like if he didn't do that, it was still a game. And then I think white has a slight advantage, but I felt like allowing this makes it really bad. What is my rating? My rating is 1492 USCF currently. I lost a game to an 1800 on last week, but this week I won a game against 1409, so I feel as though I've probably gained some rating points. I might be 1500 right now, maybe. I'm not sure. There's 2 rounds left in the tournament, so 2 weeks, and we'll see where we end up. I'm excited. Hopefully I'll be up over 1530, I'm hoping. So I can, if I win the next 2 games, I'll most certainly be well above my my highest rating I've ever had over the board. So I'm trending that way anyways. So, oh my gosh, there's a lot of Twitter notifications. My phone's going crazy. Wow. Yeah, I feel like maybe that's not the best move. So what else does black potentially have here? I don't know. What would you guys play? Let's take a look at it from black's perspective. Just came in here. What do we do? What can we do? I wonder if that's been... Oh, you probably see it shifting. Yeah, you most certainly need to improve your pieces, but we have to do something about this bishop. So do we abandon that file and just protect it, hoping that we take? Or do we move the bishop back and try to improve our pieces after? Or do we protect it with the queen, potentially putting ourselves in danger of the rook? I don't like any of those plans. They all look bad. They're all jammed up. You're totally right. Hang on 1 second. Hi, Baxter. Sorry, I had to turn off my little fireplace heater. It's getting way too hot down here. Knight on a6 is fine. Yeah, we talked about this in our post-mortem. I forgot to mention it. He certainly didn't like this, though it does maybe free up some movement, right? Because now what? We can do this. Or queen, you like queen a5 better? I feel like we just go back, right? No matter which move. It's kind of what we have to do. What's the idea? I mean, I know they're freeing up the pieces though, so we're okay. I feel like it's better. This bishop is tough to deal with. Like, it's a monster. Like, it's taking away so many squares in the knight too. We're taking away all these squares in the position. Yeah, they're like completely locked up. Maybe this was a better try for black. I'm not sure. Maybe giving themselves a little bit of mobility by, you know, then coming here and hoping I take. And then some activity with the rooks maybe, but yeah. What would that be in ELO, in FIDE? Oh, I think the USCF are about 50 points higher than FIDE, so I think I'm about 1450 FIDE. I don't have a FIDE rating, so I can't really tell you, but I think on average it's about a 50-point difference, at least from what I've seen. I don't know exactly if that's true or not, but although here maybe knight takes d4. Knight takes d4. This? Yeah, that's just, that won't work. That's a blunder. That loses a piece. Instead of bishop b7, you're talking about this. That just drops a piece. Oh, maybe. Wait, here we go. Maybe you're right. Look at this. Maybe we have a little bit of action here. Okay, okay. Oh, there we go. Maybe this is unwinding a little bit. So maybe taking here is not ideal, but still, you get the piece back. All right, so maybe not doing that. So bishop, let's get rid of that bishop b7. Delete. So they're down a piece, gain the piece back. Maybe this is a way to get a little bit of counterplay. Interesting. Is there anything here? Let's look at it from the other side. Yeah, exactly. You got to find a way. This might have been Black's best try. Let's say this is unclear. Whoopsies. Discombobulation. There we go. Yeah, I feel like this is unclear. Now it's a game, right? White and black might even be slightly better here. I'm not sure. It's totally unclear. But yeah, this would have been a better try for sure, had I gone and taken that. But even so, bishop a8 followed by queen to b6 is definitely the way to go. Nice find. Yeah, I really think taking the bishop is the best. Not taking is definitely the better way to go. That's bad news. Queen to a8. or not queen to a8. Bishop a8, getting out of taking, winning the pawn, queen to b6, coming back. Maybe coming back is the bad idea. Do we have something else? Is there a better move here than just going back? Because that's obviously not ideal. But we lose a... actually, they get the pawn back. So if we come back here... this might even be slightly better for black. Those knights are pretty monstrous. This pawn's not going anywhere anytime soon. Maybe this is unclear because we can kind of liquidate, changing my evaluation a little bit. It's totally playable. And if I don't take the pawn, it's going to follow up with queen to b6, right? And then it's game. Still a game. Nice. Okay. Yeah, I think this might be black's best try. Awesome. Well, all right, friends, I hope you have enjoyed this live stream. This has been super fun. I got a lot out of it. I think I'm at a point now where I fully taken on this whole game, and I put in a lot of great notes. I have a lot of good evaluations in there, and I think it's possibly ready for putting towards my cohort. I know I've only put about 2 hours into this, but I feel like this was a lot with the assistance of some of you. So let's go all the way to the end. Here's the end position. Yeah, rough game for black, but it looks like there were some potential options for maybe black getting back in the game, which would have been pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look. With the new software, I don't know if there's a way to raid anybody. I'm gonna have to figure that out later, potentially. Is there a way? Let's see. OBS, I can turn it on and off, but I'm not sure how to raid anybody. The analysis has gone well. I'm actually wrapping up. I'm looking to figure out how to raid people. I don't know how. Using Firebot or I don't know. I haven't even looked at anything yet. Let's go pick somebody. But I'm not sure exactly. This is all new to me, so bear with me, people. Don't be too critical of my nonsense. I think if I go to my channel and we pause because I don't want to see that. Or actually, we just mute. I can leave it run. Let's turn that off. None of the people I really follow are online, or we'd follow them, but you know what, we can do it later. It's not a big deal. I'd rather try to figure it out before we try to roll through all that. So, well, thanks for watching, everybody. I do hope you guys enjoyed the live stream, and I'll be putting this video on YouTube for those that missed it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Oh, I do have the new socials command, so if you haven't followed me on my socials, please do so. YouTube, Discord, Twitter, all that stuff. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll catch you guys in the next live stream. Take care, everyone.